an editor of science careers. So first of all, for those who might not be familiar with science careers, just a few words about who we are. We are the careers component of the journal Science. So we are an online magazine which is freely available at this URL. And so we are dedicated to helping young scientists like you in their careers, whether they want to pursue a career in academia, in industry, or explore alternative careers. So why did I decide to talk about the importance of planning your career? Well, if you're a master's student, you will find yourself very busy revising for your exams. If you're a PhD student, you are going to be writing up your thesis. And if you are a postdoc, you will be doing experiments in the lab frantically while also trying to mentor younger students. Well, this means that you are extremely busy. And it's all too easy to focus on the urgent things that you need to do today and to forget about what's next. Where are you going to do your PhD? Should you go abroad for your postdoc or not? So I think it's really important to give some thoughts to such questions. Otherwise, you are in the danger of finding yourself in this situation, not knowing how to move forward or having to make a huge detour which could actually threaten your career because you are going to waste a lot of time. So I think it's especially important for young scientists today to plan ahead because nowadays, I mean, as you have seen in all the brilliant talks that we have been hearing this afternoon, there is not a single well-established academic career path anymore. It's not like it used to be 1 or 2 decades ago. You would do a master's in one lab, stay in the same lab for your PhD, go abroad a couple of years, and come back at your university. It very rarely works like this anymore. And you have to make it happen yourself. You can't count on your PI to shape your career for you anymore. Academic careers are extremely competitive, and so you have to become the best and fast. It takes time to identify the best opportunities. You need to know what are the application deadlines if you want to apply for grants and positions. I mean, in France, for example, if you want to apply for a permanent position at a university, you will need to apply in October to have the results of the nationwide competition in April. So if you decide, oh, I would like to try and see if there is a position for me in France in November, you are going to waste an entire year. So you will have to find what am I going now, what funding, and so on. And you might have a big hole on your CV, which never looks very good. There also is a body of research which shows that planning your career actually increases your chances of success. Just to mention one study, there is a study among postdocs in the US which shows that those who sat down with their supervisors at the beginning of their postdoc, determining what kind of skills they should learn during their postdocs, actually ended up having more publications and having fewer conflicts with their supervisors. So it pays off to plan ahead. And I think it's also good to plan ahead and to have various plans in head, because if your plan A fails, then you have a backup plan immediately, so you're not going to waste time. And as well, something that you might want to consider now or later is if you are in a dual career couple, you might have to find not one or PhD or postdoc or permanent position, but 2. And it's quite tough these days to find 2 positions in the same place. Okay, so I think every now and then it's quite healthy to ask yourself, okay, let's take a very broad view. Let's imagine, I mean, I am assuming that you want a career in academia. So let's imagine what's at the end of that career path. What kind of academic PI do I want to be? So you need to have a fairly broad idea about, do I want to work in basic, applied, clinical, or translational research? If you want to be involved in translational research, basically translating your research findings in the lab into advances that are going to help patients, you need to know the clinical words. You will have to set up collaborations with doctors and do a bit of work shadowing, for example. Do you want to enter a risky research topic, which is less likely to yield results, but if you have results, you are likely to make a name for yourself? Or do you want to go into a more established research field where basically it's going to be more competitive and it might be more difficult to make a name for yourself, but you are pretty much guaranteed results? Do you want to become interdisciplinary, which will require to strike up collaborations with other disciplines? Do you see yourself as a group leader who only does research, or who also will enjoy doing some teaching, doing some outreach? This will determine whether you should seek a position within a university later on, or perhaps in a research intensive institution. I think it's also good to ask yourself, what kind of environment do you think that you work best in? Do you work best in a very competitive environment where we are competing with each other? Or do you need more nurturing, more support from peers and colleagues? Now, is research the most important aspect of your research, or is your work-life balance and family commitments now or later on important for you? And try and think a little bit about how you see yourself balancing the two. Do you want to stay local, to develop your career locally, go abroad and come back, or are you really ready to explore the whole world? So really try and build a picture of what is success for you. And this picture might and will very probably change as you move forward in your career, but it's always good to have one in mind. So now, once you know more or less where you want to go, you need to know what it takes. So we had some very good indicators during the presentations before. So how many publications do you need? Do you need to go abroad? How many years of postdoc do you need before being competitive enough for a permanent position as a group leader? Ask your network, so your local network first, your mentors, supervisors, peers. Also, when you go to international conference, like we heard before, talk to people, expand your network as much as possible, and then keep in touch. And also go to career events like today, because in a nutshell, you just get so much information about careers. Find out eligibility criteria for grants and positions well ahead of time. Research the qualities and credentials of successful people. So nowadays you have a lot of blogs and magazines like Science Careers actually, which profile people who have won an ERC grant, who have got a permanent position very young or whatever. And try and find, okay, what is special about them? You can also sometimes meet these people face to face and just go up and talk to them. I mean, usually people are very happy to talk about their own career and to help other people. And also try and research the current prospects. So if you want to have a position in Harvard, get an idea of how competitive they are and compare a little bit the situation and see what you want most and where you fit best. Okay, so now making it happen. So you kind of know where you want to go. You need to assess where you are right now, if you're a master's student, PhD student, or postdoc, and you need to bridge the gap. So this means identifying what new knowledge do you need, what new skills, techniques, experience, credentials. Identify opportunities of how and where best to get them. So this might, I mean, you will have to be mobile probably during your PhD and postdoc at least, and really go and seek these opportunities and go where they are. And you have to establish some SMART goals when you are planning your career. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-bound. So to give you some example, if you're a master's student and you want to do a PhD later on, it might be a good idea to get some solid knowledge in statistical methods, for example. So if your university is running a course in statistical methods, go and attend one next week. Another goal could be, okay, well, I'm a PhD student and I'm having some promising results. I am planning, well, working towards having my results published within 6 months. and so like, okay? So you break your career path, your ground goal, into smaller manageable chunks. And really, you should chart your career path. So really on a blank piece of paper. And so yeah, give yourself some deadlines, give yourself some reminders, really make it concrete. Keep track of your progress and go and revise your plan. No plan is set in stone. Really be open to other influences, to other ideas, to other interests that you may develop as you mature as a young researcher. And also, to opportunities and just changing ideas. I think it's a good idea to involve mentors, peers, friends, and family, just because it's quite hard sometimes to achieve goals. And if you have told your supervisor, next week I'm going to that course in stats, it's making you more accountable. You know, if you have said that you would go, then you should probably go, and so on. So it should help you move forward. So now in my title, I mentioned that you should plan your academic career with an open mind. So what was I referring to? Well, this is a graph that I don't think that you should get obsessed about, but it's really something that I think any young scientist planning to become a group leader should bear in mind. So on the left-hand side of the graph, you have all the PhD students who get out of their doctoral program with a PhD, so all the newly produced PhD. And as you move forward on your right, basically this is the academic career ladder. So from PhD to postdoc to permanent research staff with a junior position, and then professor with a solid permanent position. So you can see that from all the PhDs that are coming out of university, a very small number, less than 0.50% actually get that very coveted permanent position. This was a study that was done in the UK 5 years ago, but I think it's still a very good indicator to have a broad idea of what is the current status of the job market in any country. So now many of the people who left academia and went on to pursue alternative careers, like being a science writer, like I did actually, or becoming a patent attorney, or really, working in a museum doing outreach, many of them have actually chosen to leave academia because they have found a calling elsewhere, or because they have found more interesting opportunities. Others go to industry as well, still doing research, but in an industry setting. But I think that still a small proportion of people would have wished to stay in academia and that they just didn't find an opportunity because positions are so few. So just to bear in mind. So really what you perhaps should try and do is, as you are doing your PhD, doing your postdoc, try and take mental notes. You don't need to dedicate a lot of time to this, and you probably don't want to because you have to give it all to research to really have a chance to be competitive. But take note of of things that you think would be interesting to you should research not work out in the end. So for example, if you think that you would be interested in teaching to kids, try and go and participate in school activities. If you think that you would be interested in outreach and your university is having an open day where people from the general public come in, go and talk to them and see if you enjoy the experience. Now I'm going to give you an online tool which has been produced by Science Careers in collaboration with American institutions. And basically, this is to allow you to assess your values, your skills, and your interests. And basically, it's an app which then matches your interests and skills and etc. to what kind of alternative careers would be suited for you. It's just to give you an idea. It's not a 100% foolproof test, but it's giving you a range of options. And so this is free, and you can find it at this URL. And so it allows you to identify options for alternative careers, to get an idea of what these careers are about, and also to get an understanding of what it takes to get there. So it will allow you, again, to make smart goals and to map your way to becoming a journalist or a patent attorney or whatever. And actually this tool is also, it can also be used if you want to stay in academia and you would like some help mapping out your journey to a permanent position. Okay, so to summarize, planning ahead. What does it mean? So it means being aware of your present situation. Do you enjoy what you are doing? Is your PhD project going to lead to a PhD degree in the end? Knowing where you want to go. Understanding the gap from here to there. Having an understanding of what are the odds that you are going to make it. Constantly checking whether you are on track or not. And making adjustments to make sure that you go back on track if you got a little bit on the side. And thinking up several ways to achieve your same career goals, and also have in mind several possible careers. But I think that the most important advice perhaps is to be alert and proactive. So I don't know if some of you are perhaps familiar with PhD comics. This is, it is produced by George Cham, who was a former PhD student in the US, and he started drawing cartoons about his experience as a PhD student. If you have a chance, go and check it out. It's really quite funny and enlightening as well. And so he had this grand life plan, go to grad school at 22, defend thesis at age 26, land dream academic job at 28, get tenure at 32, win prestigious career awards, and live happily ever after. Down at the bottom part of the cartoon, you have life reality. Go to grad school at 22, work on random fruitless projects at 26. At age 28, starting thinking maybe I should find a PhD project which is going to be more productive. At 31, still in grad school. At 33, still in grad school. And at 35, wonder when things started to go wrong. So really being alert to what kind of situation you are in and be proactive to make the situation change if needs to, and really to steer your career path. I have talked to many PhD students who would run to the end of their PhD and they have no idea what they want to do afterwards. Don't do a postdoc because you don't know what else to do. And I also have met many postdocs, perhaps more so in the past, but who would do one postdoc and one postdoc and one more until time goes by and their age goes up and it's very difficult to find a permanent position, and they are in their late 30s and they don't know what else they are going to do, and it's quite a difficult experience professionally and personally. So really every now and then try and think about the questions that we have covered today. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Elisabeth. Is there any question in the audience? No. I would like you to mention, because in UK there are now all the universities are pushing the students and postdocs to have a mentor. They're creating the mentoring scheme and everything. How important do you think that is to have a mentor in a career life?
Yes, I think it's really very crucial because it's someone who is going or who should be making sure that your career is keeping on track, and you might need some new training in a new technique or in specific areas, and your mentor will be able to say, well, these are your strong points here, but this is what you need to be working on. And so this is going to give you this feedback. And as well for the issue of networking. Mentors, if they are established PIs, they will know lots of people, and they might be able to recommend you for a postdoc, or they might be able to tell you, look, there is a permanent position opening here and there. I think it would be very risky not to have any mentors. And I would actually encourage you to have as many mentors as you can, because everyone is going to give a different perspective.
Questions? Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Quiero también aclararos que es importante tener la figura del mentor, que no sea tu jefe, que tenga suficiente experiencia y que no sea un amigo. Te van a dar puntos de vista muy útiles para avanzar en la carrera y que son bastante necesarios, como nos ha dicho Elizabeth. Vamos a pasar al café. Como vamos con un pelín de retraso, hemos decidido empezar la conferencia magistral a las 5:20, 10 minutos simplemente de retraso para que tengamos un poquito de tiempo para tomar el café ahí fuera. Muchas gracias.